guys, thanks for coming. Round 3 of Pleb Symposium.
Yes!
Alright, so I'm just going to get right into it. Tonight's conversation, and, well, before we get into the conversational side of things, let's do what we always do. All of the food and everything, this whole event tonight is sponsored by a couple of people. So we have Jonathan of Dominant Strategies. We have a complete Anon. So Jonathan, Anon, and Francis, the Bull Bitcoin team. And tonight, me and Francis are just going to kick things off with like a little conversation about kind of the importance of community and some of the things Bull Bitcoin is doing here in Austin right now. Hello.
There you go.
What's up, man?
What's up? I'm happy to be here.
Cool. You just did a madman's trip down to Houston and back?
I did, yeah. I rocked Texas highways. Always wanted to do that, so they're awesome.
That was just a single day. You left this morning and came back tonight.
Yeah,
that's why.
Back in Austin, back home.
All right, so you've been in Austin for how long now? You guys got here about a month ago.
I mean, yeah, we got here about 3 weeks ago. Testing the grounds to see how it feels like to be a freedom refugee. Words of that truth.
How's that working?
It's great. Fuck, Austin's awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool spot. A lot of Austin Bitcoiners. I feel like this is kind of like a permanent conference going on. Having like side dinners with Bitcoiners all the time. I mean, it's great to be around Bitcoiners. It's really invigorating. It's a huge life when you're looking at where do I want to live. You know, being around Bitcoiners is definitely a tick on the box there.
Yeah, 100%. I tell people all the time that the first bit devs I went to, like I came down to Austin just because I heard about this thing in the mystery mill called Bit Devs, and I was like, I'll go check that out. There was like 150 Bitcoiners in a room. I landed here, I went to that, and I was like, oh, you know, that's probably good enough. Just like 150 Bitcoiners in a room, like once a month. But better than anywhere else I found for Bitcoiners communities. So.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, I mean, I do miss like in Montreal, we did have a pretty awesome Bitcoin community going, which was my favorite thing about Montreal. We had the meetup running. Our meetup has been running for 8 years. So it started in July 2013. And there was the Bitcoin embassy there, which is similar to what you're doing at the Pleb Lab. Although we were also like selling ledgers. We were bringing in the general public into the Bitcoin embassy. So I do miss that Bitcoin community. That was the hardest part to leave behind. We had to actually put the meetup on hold for a few months. So we're hoping that other people pick up the meetup while we're gone. But it's hard because we've been running the meetup for 8 years, and the Montreal Bitcoin meetup is a dictatorship.
The meetup is a dictatorship.
The meetup is a pure dictatorship. There's no open mic. There's no shitcoinery allowed. There's no off-topic shit allowed. When we started, at some point in the meetup, when the shitcoin started to happen, it was, everybody was pitching their project, and it was always a shitcoin project. So like a few years ago, I decided Bitcoin only, and
yeah, we did the same thing here. I think the car, was it the first or the second? Yeah, so we had somebody like asked a question about, I don't even remember how it came up, but it was just like, actually the conversation was around just, the first meetup we did like a round table where I basically was just like, we introduced ourselves, we introduced Austin Bitcoin Club, what we were doing, what we hoped we could do, and then we just like opened it up like, if you guys are going to come to this regularly, like, what would you like to get out of something like this? And that was fun, it was great, we got a lot of really good insight, but somebody had mentioned like trying to pitch the same idea for meetup 2 where we just continue the constant round circle, and I was like, no, once was enough, this is my microphone from now on. Like, I don't have the time or energy to dive down the constant rabbit hole of like all of these crazy different directions people want to go, and getting into politics and shitcoins and just all kind of crazy stuff, so I feel that 100%.
Yeah. And but I like also having meetups that are more just like drinking and chilling, hanging out, because I don't really enjoy hanging out with normies anymore. I mean, I very rarely hang out with normies. It's a very weird phenomenon for me nowadays. what are we supposed to talk about? Fucking Squid Game or whatever. But no, it's I reserve my mental energy for Bitcoiners, right? So if I'm gonna spend like 3 hours talking to a bunch of people, that's why I'm even trying to avoid Bitcoin conferences now, because they drain me so much. Because I'm so excited to finally be with my people. That but this is good. Like being in Austin and having a few meetups, and it's good because you can like taper off your Bitcoin addiction, and you don't have to just go to a conference every 3 months and talk about Bitcoin for 3 days and lose your voice.
Conferences are great. I love the energy of conferences, but I think it's hit or miss, especially now that like Austin has so many things going on all the time. It's like even next month, I know there's going to be a bit of like a back and forth with the pool for whether people are going to be here or whether they're going to be at TabConf, because the meetup next month is literally like on the same time frame, and I know a lot of people are going to be going to Atlanta for that, but it's like, I think it's the appeal of at least what I've tried to build here is that I try to keep it super low cost, like everything is on us, just show up and kick it with Bitcoiners. Like the conferences, they're great, there's a lot of really cool energy there, but depending on which one you're at, you're getting a lot of people who sneak in and are shitcoiners, and it's going to cost you $500 for a ticket, $500 for round trip flights, several nights of like stay, or you could just come here and eat chicken, drink beer, have fun.
Yeah, no, this is cool. The culture in Austin is also quite cool. Like the Texas culture, obviously resonates with some parts of the Bitcoin ethos. So it's hard to bootstrap like a. It's not that hard to bootstrap like a Bitcoin community. But it's way easier when you're not swimming against the current in terms of culture, in terms of politics, in terms of business, in terms of, but mostly culture. I think culture is probably the biggest factor. I don't think people care that much about like taxes anymore because we're Bitcoiners. Pay your taxes. You know, like. I'm not necessarily that afraid of governments. I'm also afraid of the mob. I'm also afraid of being swarmed by the masses once Bitcoin hits, you know, where it's supposed to go, and once the dollar hits where it's, you know, trending right now. So I find it quite cool to look at jurisdictions in terms of potential to be the cradle of hyper-Bitcoinization, not based on their on-paper specs like tax rate or KYC, ML policies, or whatever, but just based on the culture of the people. And I think that in Texas, it's definitely easy. The whole narrative of Bitcoin is just going with the flow. Like there's a wave. The pendulum is swinging a little bit in Texas already the other way, right? So after we've gone through this mass totalitarian social justice takeover of our culture, I feel like Texas is already kind of trying to swing a little back, and hopefully the Bitcoin wave is just going to be kind of like a little push that helps Texas take the pendulum.
I think if I had to take a guess, Bitcoin was already the push, and like the fact that the pendulum is swinging back here faster than it is anywhere else has a lot to do with the Bitcoin community. And I think we've had this conversation a few times. I think like the idea that things are going to get wild and crazy, and that like we have a lot of work to do, I think the totalitarian, the kind of governmental controls, the depletion of the value of our money standards, like it's coming whether we want it to or not. Like the signs are all there. It's every single day. Like the dollar gets less valuable, and they put out more mandates and more restrictions and try to take more of our freedoms. And it really is just going to boil down to like when it's time to like get together and organize and like get shit done. Like who do you want to be around? Because like it's not going to matter where you go or who's in charge. It's going to be like how many of the people that believe in the same things as you that are like ready to get shit done.
Yeah, and you know, as Bitcoiners, we are able to avoid a bunch of the rules through our technologies and through our mindsets. And a lot of people say it doesn't matter if there's these restrictions of freedom. You can make yourself sovereign. You can, you know, go off the grid and you can do a bunch of stuff. But here in Texas, you guys are blessed not to have had the kind of restrictions that we had to go through and that our families are still going through. And one of the things that I've noticed is these motherfuckers are living rent-free in my head so hard, because whenever I still look at the news back home because I'm so interested in what's going on in Quebec, even though I shit on Quebec all the time. I am, you know, 17th generation Quebecer, so I'm still I'm still kind of a patriot for that. And we're trying to, even yesterday, we hear the news that Costa Rica is now going to have like the vax mandates, and a bunch of us are down there. A bunch of us kind of considering it as like second home base, and the whole mind share of what we could be putting into working on our Bitcoin projects. Now we're working on reorganizing our life, reorganizing our plans. Now we have to find a new home. I've moved like 4 times in the last 18 months. So really not to underestimate like just how good it is for Bitcoiners that are non-compliant individuals to finally have a place where we can fucking chill. Like, that's why I love this place in Austin. That's why I'm so happy here. It's because I can just focus on work, and I don't have like microaggressions on a daily basis for me to wear my naked face, that I was born with, in a store. And I'm just very grateful to have this opportunity to be here and just focus on my work and avoid all that crap. Bull Bitcoin's never been more productive in my lifetime. I've never been this productive in my lifetime. I don't know if it's just Texas, but the Texas part of the equation is obviously present. So Texas makes you more productive.
Yeah, well, we're super glad to have you here, man. It's honestly, I think there's something happening here that is just like tied into like the metaphysical nature of Bitcoin, where it's just like everything here is just happening way faster, way more, like Bitcoin is hyper productive. So like if you're here in the epicenter of Bitcoin, and you're working on Bitcoin, like it's just, you can't be anywhere better for getting, because community is like the most powerful thing, man. Like you want to get shit done, connect with people who can help you get it done. So it's like, as far as at least from what I can tell, there's nowhere else on earth right now that has the kind of Bitcoin energy that Austin, Texas does.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think I've seen any place like this in a while. There used to be, Montreal definitely was one at some point, and then Milan was also one at some point for a weird reason.
Oh, I know there's a few other places.
Tel Aviv.
Let's just settle in on it.
Oh, but they're all gone. All of these places are fucking nightmares now. They're literal dystopias that people are actively trying to flee. It's not just Canadians that are literally fleeing their hometowns. Like nobody wants to stay in Italy. Nobody wants to stay anywhere else.
Well, there's probably, like, again, people are multifaceted, so blanket statements don't normally work all that often. There are people that are going to stay in Italy and fight. There are people in Canada who are going to fight. Like, we're seeing all kinds of movements, at least I am, like, across the world, where people are, like, taking to the streets, and, like, airlines, or people are, like, walking out of jobs all across the world. So I'm actually really optimistic that we're trending in a lot of the right directions. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's a crazy time to be alive, and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but I think part of what you talked about, like being here in Austin and being productive and not having like the microaggressions every day, like it's kind of like a bit of it is just getting unplugged from all of it, right? Like there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but if you like put all of your focus into the crazy stuff going on and not just like putting all of your focus into the crazy awesome solutions, then like you're just wasting your time, because we got a lot of shit we can do to make it all better.
Yeah, as a big, one of my favorite memes right now is that meme with the guy with the mask and the gun and the glowing eyes, and it says like, I just want to be left alone. He's holding a gun like this, and I feel like as a Bitcoiner, I'm not looking for subsidies, or I'm not looking for government contracts. I'm not looking for welfare. I'm not even looking for just like an offshore tax regime. I'm just looking for a place where you can leave me the fuck alone and let me work on Bitcoin, because that's what I want to do. And
welcome to Austin.
Yeah, no, totally. Thank you.
Yeah, I think really we try and keep it pretty brief. I think. All right, cool. Bobby, you sure? 100%.
Yeah, you do, man.
You don't want to make an intro? Bobby wants to make an intro. Come on, Bobby.
Come on, Bobby, let's go.
Let's go, Bobby.
Sure.
Absolutely. Come on, man.
We want to hear you, Bobby.
Guys, this is Bobby. Bobby's with Capital Factory. He just has a quick announcement.
So all I want to say is welcome everybody to Capital Factory. They're talking about making Austin, Texas the center of Bitcoin, right? And we want to support that in whatever way that we can. So we're really excited to see you guys here. We want to support your efforts and what you're doing here. And Capital Factory's vision is to help guys like these up here reach the next level of where they're trying to go, connect to other people beyond that. So we are just really excited to see everybody here in our full house. When I first came to Capital Factory and during the pandemic, I would see 2 or 3 people a day. So to see all of you guys here tonight, hanging out with us, enjoying these great conversations, we really appreciate it, and we can hope that we can support your vision in every way that we can.
Thanks
Thank you very much for listening to us. And then, all right, so we have one last final announcement, and then after that's over, we'll get ready to just get to the best part where I turn off the microphone and we just kick it old school. This is the announcement, by the way.
I get high and I get low. Oh, but that's the way these things go. I saw my face in the mirror, and lo, I know I've changed, though I look much the same. And I found grace in the black water, bathe my soul, and tell my heart I told you so. I lay like bait in the lion's cage and wait for my time to come. More than you ever know.
You need to come see me.
Cool, so if you guys want to shoot guns with Bitcoiners next Saturday, October 23rd, you can scan this QR code around the building and it'll take you to the ticket page. And that's basically all we've got, so thanks for coming to Austin Bitcoin Club and enjoy kicking it old school.